Hey guys, I thought I would do like a quick tutorial kind of video. I really hesitate calling any of these kinds of videos tutorials because I'm not a makeup artist. I prefer calling them demos just to kind of show you what I'm doing to get a makeup look. So many of you commented that you really liked my makeup in my worst of 2018 video, and I was so happy that you guys had like noticed and that you made such lovely comments. Thank you, by the way, because I used mainly, I think except for one eyeshadow, like all cream products. I just didn't feel like using any powder products that day. So I thought, why don't I go ahead and do like a cream product only kind of glowy makeup demo. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle, and if you're into luxury makeup and skincare like I am, go ahead and subscribe down below. I would love that. Join our lovely community here. I have to say, I have the best subscribers. You guys are just the best. I get the nicest comments, of which I can't always respond to. I apologize, but I read them all. At least I try and skim through all of them, and they're just always so positive. They're funny. I just love it. So anyway, subscribe if you want to join the community here. We would love that. And let's dive right in. So I'm going to start with my primer, and in that video I used the Armani Prima Glow On Moisturizing Balm. I love this. This actually ended up being an honorable mention in my best of 2018 because it's fairly new to my collection, so I didn't feel right saying it's a best of 2018, but I really like this balm. It is a little bit easier to spread than the Tatcha Silk Canvas. You can see here it has a similar kind of like balm consistency to the Silk Canvas. I find it a little bit creamier and a little bit easier to spread than the Silk Canvas. I do also find it more moisturizing than the Silk Canvas. I don't find the Tatcha one drying at all, but I just don't feel like it does any kind of moisturization at all. It just sort of is there. So I've been preferring this one, although the one thing that Tatcha has over this is its fragrance. I generally just prefer no fragrance, especially in like base products, but that Tatcha like camellia scent is so beautiful that I just love opening up that Silk Canvas tub and just kind of sticking my nose right in there. It really smells beautiful. So this has no scent whatsoever, but it's a really lovely primer. And even though I find it moisturizing and it spreads really easily, it does have a bit of a tacky base. So I do think it does help with like longevity of your makeup. So for foundation, I had more recently come back from my Mexico trip when I filmed that video. So I was a little bit tanner. My forehead stays pretty tan. It just, you know, I think most people's forehead is tanner, but I feel like mine is like a completely different person's skin from my neck. It is like so much tanner than the rest of my body. So what I do sometimes is I will use a foundation, but then I'll use a little bit of like a bronzer just in the forehead area, just to kind of maintain what naturally occurs on my face, even though it's not very natural looking at all. But I'm like, but this is what happens with my face, and sometimes I just kind of want to maintain that. So I used the Sicily Tinted Sunscreen Cream, and what I did was I added a little bit of the Drunk Elephant De Bronzy Anti-Pollution Sunshine Serum, just a little bit to the foundation for my forehead. So I'll do the same thing. Again, I don't think I'm quite as tan as I was in that video because I just got back from Mexico, but my forehead is really tan. So I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze out just a little bit of this and apply this kind of below my eyebrows. I'm using my Sonia G Base 1 brush, by the way, my favorite foundation brush by far. And then I squeezed out way too much of the Sicily, but I have some left over on my hand. So I'm gonna take the De Bronzy, and it's also a pump. So I'm just gonna squeeze out a little bit, like about that much, not too much. And then I don't do anything terribly scientific. I just kind of go between the foundation and the De Bronzy and just kind of go back and forth. I just tap a little bit onto my brush here and start to mix it on the back of my hand, see if I see any difference with the De Bronzy. If I feel like it hasn't made any difference, I'll just add a little bit more and kind of go back and forth. And then I'll add that to my forehead. I mean, you can see it's still lighter than my forehead, but it's a little bit darker than what was going on down here. But I'm gonna add a little bit more of the De Bronzy and blend that in. You can see that makes it much closer to my forehead shade. And then once I get that applied to my forehead, it's not like I want this line. I'll drag that darker color down and make sure it's blended properly, but not all the way down because I don't want this to be that different. I do want to mention, I feel like if you talk to any makeup artist, they probably wouldn't recommend doing this at all. At all. I think they generally put foundation down to make sure everything is all even out, and then they would probably use a bronzer to warm up the forehead if they felt the need. But I don't know. I just kind of like going with what is naturally going on my face. Otherwise, I feel like I'm wearing a bit of a mask. So that's why I do it. So there's just kind of like natural gradation. So that is what I did in terms of foundation. And then I went ahead and used the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. I have it in the shade Fair Medium, and I draw this right onto my face. Usually I have a little product left on the sponge, so I'll just start with whatever is there. If I need more, I'll just squeeze a little bit more out. But I pretty much just kind of hug my cheekbone like that. And then I just try and match it up as best as I can. My face is pretty asymmetric, so I don't know. I just pick a side and try and mimic the other side. So there, we're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my Zoeva Face Shape number 110 brush. And I have a lot of cream brushes that I like. I often use the Smashbox Cream Cheek Brush. This is actually a really nice one. This is great too. It has a little bit more of a dome top. But I'm just going to go ahead and blend this in. And you can see it blends so easily. I feel like I put more on this side. Ooh, I definitely put more on this side. Let's see if we can just blend that out. I have this one patch of skin that loves to pick up a ton of product. Blend that out. We'll just let her do her thing. Next, I used my Clé de Peau cream blush that I have in the shade number 4. And this is such a lovely cream blush. And as much as I love using cream products, I often overlook them because I just go straight to the powder step. But this is definitely something I need to use more often. It's just so beautiful. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my finger and tap this on. And it really gives such a beautiful color to my face. I'm instantly well rested. Haven't been sick in years. It's also just really subtle at the same time. So that is the Clé de Peau number 4 cream blush. It's really gorgeous. Next, I use the Chantecaille Liquid Lumiere in Brilliance as my highlight. And this is a product you really don't need a lot of. So I'm going to squeeze some out onto the back of my hand. Just that much. Probably not even gonna need that much. And just pat that onto my cheekbones. And again, I'm just using my fingers. And when I'm using only cream products, you can see how glistening my face looks. I don't feel like I ever really need that much highlighter anyway, so I'm just gonna keep this really light. Put some here, down the bridge of my nose. I'm gonna use my Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel for my eyebrows. Nothing new here. And oop, got a clump there. I'm gonna brush them up a little bit, make them a little bit fluffier. All right, and then for eyes, I went in with the Tom Ford cream color for eyes in Spice. It's this warm, metallic kind of brown color. I'm gonna use my Sonia G Worker 2 brush. I'm just gonna dip in ever so gently. This is a very soft formula. This isn't like the Chanel or even the Chantecaille that's more like putty. This is definitely more moussey. So you can pick up a little bit too much if you kind of just jab your brush right in there. So I just tapped it in. I have a little bit on the tip there. And I'm just going to pat that on my lid. And then I'm going to blend it out. And so you really don't need that much to kind of just cover your lid, give your eyes a little bit of color there. And I love these shadows, so easy to blend. I had much more product on my brush when I did this eye, so I'm gonna add a little bit here. There, I think that looks a little bit more even. And then what I did when I filmed that video was I did add a little bit of powder eyeshadow. So this is the only time I use a powder product, but I kind of wanted to set down this eyeshadow. I didn't want it to move or crease or transfer or do anything weird. So I used the White Suede palette and I went over top with this shade right here, and just to kind of like brighten it up a little bit also. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Chikuhodo GSN 9 brush and go into this light pink satin shade. And I'm just placing this on the inner corner of my lid and then kind of patting it towards the center. And then I took just a little bit of this brown to kind of set the outer corner of my eye. So I'm just gonna pat that down. I didn't want to lose the fun metallic sheen of the spice, so I'm using just a really light layer of powder and just patting that in. And then I just took this brown shade again and just lined my lower lash line. Then I curled my eyelashes and then I used my Edward Best Wish Granted mascara. I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera and I'll be right back. All right, I just had a bit of a panic attack because I couldn't find my Chanel gloss, which you guys know I really love, but it was in my purse downstairs. So anyway, I used the Pat McGrath Contour lip liner with this gloss for the look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw the lip liner on. I'm gonna overdraw my lips a little bit because that is what I did in that video. And now I'm gonna throw on the magical Chanel gloss. I'm just gonna blend in that lip liner a little bit more. It looks a little bit too defined. It looks weird. It looks very 90s right now. All right, so there is the final look. As you can see, I look very glowy, glowing being a very nice term for it. I think some people would probably consider me looking just a little bit too shiny. I really like this. I have very dry skin. I really like looking kind of, Victoria Beckham coined the term sweaty sexy, so I'm gonna just completely steal that. Like, I just really like that kind of glaze to my skin. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm drying up. So that's it for this video. That's how I achieved the look in my worst of 2018 video. Thank you guys again so much for all of your compliments on this look. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions down below in the comment section. Subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in my next video.